Hi, I'm Charlie Doniger, your AI guide for this training program, How to Build the Life Story. There comes a moment when someone you love pauses and can't quite find the memory they were reaching for. A name, a place, a story they've told 100 times before, and in that moment, something deeper begins to slip. Not just information, not just facts, but the feeling of who they are, the stories that shape them, the moments that define them, the small details that only they would remember. And for the people who love them, there's a quiet fear. What happens if those stories are lost? This is where the life story begins, not as a project, not as a task, but as a way to sit beside someone and help them remember the life they've lived, to bring back the moments that still matter, to capture them while they can still be told, and to preserve them in a way that can be returned to again and again. As a memory support practitioner, your role is not to interview, it's not to document, and it's not to get every detail exactly right. Your role is something much more important. You are there to help someone remember the precious memories that have given meaning to their life, and to assist their loved ones in bringing those memories back to mind. In this training, I'll show you how to do that, step by step. How to ask the right kinds of questions, how to create a space where memories come back naturally, and how to capture those moments in a way that becomes the foundation for everything that follows. Because this isn't just about memory, it's about connection, it's about identity, and it's about preserving something that would otherwise be lost. Let's get started. Let's take a moment to understand what we mean by the life story. Because this is where many people unintentionally get it wrong. The life story is not a timeline. It's not a list of dates or events, and it's not about getting every detail exactly right. The life story is a collection of moments. Moments that mattered. Moments that shaped how someone sees themselves. Moments that still carry meaning, even now. Some of these moments are big: a first job, a marriage, the birth of a child. But many of them are small: a favorite song, a place they loved to go, the way someone used to laugh. These are the details that bring a life back into focus, and often they're the ones that come back most naturally. So instead of trying to build a complete history, we focus on something much more powerful. We follow what feels alive. We listen for emotion. We allow one memory to gently lead to another. Because when someone feels safe and not rushed, memories don't need to be forced. They begin to return on their own. And that's when something meaningful happens. This becomes more than a story. It becomes a way for someone to reconnect with who they are. And it becomes something their family can return to, again and again. Before we go further, let's take a moment to understand your role and how this works. A life story does not exist in a finished form. What exists are memories, moments, experiences, fragments of a life that has been lived. Your role is to help shape those memories into something meaningful. You do this by guiding the conversation, by asking questions that trigger memories, and allowing those moments to begin to take form as a story. In most cases, you'll be doing this together with two people: the person whose life is being remembered, and a care partner. Each plays a role. The loved one brings forward the memories. The care partner may help support, clarify, or add detail when needed. And you guide the conversation. You help give structure to what emerges. You capture it and organize it in a way that can be used later. Because the goal is not simply to remember, it's to create something that can support everyday life. Moments when a question is asked, when something is forgotten, or when reassurance is needed. Over time, the care partner becomes the primary user of what has been created. They rely on it in real, daily situations. So part of your role is also to guide them, to show them how to keep the information current through simple, natural updates based on what's happening in the moment. In this way, you are not just capturing memories, you are helping shape them into something that can continue to support both of them every day. Questions are the engine that drives the life story. A single, well-placed question can bring a memory forward, not by forcing it, but by giving it something to respond to. The right question creates a moment. It opens a door, and often it allows something to surface that wasn't there just a moment before. These are not questions meant to test memory. They're not about getting the right answer. They're designed to trigger something, a feeling, a place, a person, a moment. And when that happens, one memory often leads to another. A small detail becomes something more complete. A moment begins to take shape. And over time, those moments begin to connect. This is how the life story is formed. Not all at once, but one memory at a time. Through this training, you'll be equipped with a set of carefully designed questions. Questions that gently bring memories forward and help shape them into something meaningful. And as you'll see, how you ask these questions matters just as much as the questions themselves.
Hi, Eleanor. It's so nice to meet you. My name is Angela, and what we're going to do together today is really just have a conversation. There's nothing you need to prepare, and there are no right or wrong answers. I'll be asking you some simple questions, and you can share whatever comes to mind. Sometimes a memory comes right away, and sometimes it takes a moment. Both are perfectly okay. There's no rush. We'll just take it one step at a time. And if something feels meaningful to you, we'll stay with it. As we talk, I'll be noting what you share so that these moments can be saved and used later to help support you in everyday life. But for now, this is simply your time, a chance to remember and to share the moments that matter to you. Ready to begin? Where did you grow up?
In St. Louis.
What do you remember about your home?
It was a small house, white, with a big tree in the front yard.
What did you like most about it?
Ah, that tree. We used to sit under it in the summer, my brother and I.
What was your brother like?
He was loud, always getting into trouble, but he made everything fun.
What kinds of things did you enjoy doing together?
We'd ride our bikes all over the neighborhood. My mother would call us in for dinner, and we'd pretend we didn't hear her. She'd stand on the porch and yell our full names. That's how we knew we were in trouble.
What do you remember about her?
She was steady, always there. Dinner at the same time, every night.
That sounds like a really special time.
Yeah, it was.
And that's how a life story conversation can unfold, just like we saw with Angela and Eleanor. The questions Angela asked were part of a thoughtfully designed question bank, one that helps guide the conversation naturally so it feels comfortable, engaging, and easy to follow. Later in this training, I'll show you exactly how to access that question bank so you'll have everything you need to draw out a rich and meaningful life story in a way that flows just as naturally as the conversation you just experienced. In the next section, I'll walk you through how to record your conversation and how to turn it into a written transcript. And that transcript will become the foundation of what we call the knowledge base, the heart of the Memory Helpers system. Now that you've seen how a life story conversation can unfold, let's talk about what happens next. In this section, we're going to focus on one simple goal, capturing that conversation so you can use it later. I'm going to show you how to record your life story conversation, in a way that's easy, comfortable, and doesn't get in the way of the moment. We'll also show you where to find a simple question guide, so you don't have to remember what to ask. The goal here is not to make this complicated. It's simply to give you a clear, reliable way to capture the conversation as it naturally happens. Because once it's captured, you have something you can come back to, something you can build from, and something you can preserve. Let's begin with the first step, recording the life story conversation. We're going to keep this very simple. You do not need special equipment. You do not need technical experience. All you need is a phone or a tablet. Step 1, open your camera. On your device, find and open the camera app. At the bottom of the screen, look for video. Tap on that. Step 2, position your device. Now place your device in front of you, on a table or any stable surface. Position it so it is standing upright, so the person you're speaking with can be clearly seen. Frame the shot so their face is visible. Seeing their expressions adds meaning to the story you're capturing. Place your phone or tablet in a small stand or holder to keep it steady and upright. If you don't have one, you can search online for something like phone stand for recording or tablet holder for desk. These are simple, inexpensive, and can make recording easier and engaging. Step 3, check the space. Take a quick look around. Try to sit in a quiet place. Make sure there is enough light to see each other clearly. Nothing needs to be perfect, just comfortable. Step 4, start recording. When you're ready, tap the record button. You'll see a timer begin. That means your recording has started. Now, simply begin your conversation. Let it flow naturally, just like you saw in the demonstration. Step 5, end the recording. When your conversation comes to a natural ending point, tap the record button again to stop the video. Your video will save automatically. You do not need to name it. You do not need to move it. It is already stored on your device. That's all there is to it. This is not a production. It's not about getting everything right. It's simply about capturing a meaningful conversation, so you can return to it later. Before you begin your conversation, there's one more important thing to keep in mind. You do not need to complete the entire life story in one sitting. In fact, it's often better not to. A shorter conversation, 10 to 15 minutes, is usually more comfortable, more natural, and easier to enjoy. You can always pause, take a break, and continue later. You might continue later that same day, or on another day. Each conversation becomes its own recording, and together those recordings build the full life story, one step at a time. This also helps protect what you've captured. If something happens to one recording, you still have everything else. So take your time. Let the story unfold naturally. There's no rush and no need to do it all at once. When you're ready, you'll take each of these recordings and turn them into written transcripts. Remember, short recordings, no more than 10 to 15 minutes long, make transcription much quicker and easier to manage. In the next section, I'll show you exactly where to find your recordings and how to create a transcript. Now let's move your recording from your phone to your computer. I'll begin with instructions if you have an iPhone or an iPad and a Mac computer. I'll follow that with instructions if you have an Android phone or tablet and a Windows PC. The instructions will be step by step. Feel free to pause the video and replay the instructions as often as you need. If you have an iPhone or iPad and a Mac, start here. Open the Photos app on your iPhone or iPad. Tap Collections. Then look for Media Types. Tap Videos. Now find the video you just recorded. Tap it to open it. Look in the bottom left corner of your screen. You'll see a small square with an arrow pointing up. Tap that. At the top of the next screen, you'll see My Devices. Just below that, you should see your computer. Tap your computer's name. You'll see a message that says Sent. Now go to your Mac. Look at the bottom of your screen and find the Finder icon. It looks like a smiling face. Click it. Then click Downloads on the left side. Look for your video. It will usually be one of the most recent items. Double-click it to open. If you have an Android phone or tablet and a Windows PC, start here. Open the Gallery app on your phone or tablet. Look for a section called Videos. Tap Videos. Now find the video you just recorded. Tap it to open it. Look for the Share button. It may say Share, or it may look like 3 connected dots. Tap Share. From the options that appear, choose a way to send the video to your computer. You can use email, Google Drive, or another option you recognize. Send the video to yourself or upload it. Now go to your Windows computer. If you used email, open your email and download the video. If you used Google Drive or another service, open it and download the video. Once the file is downloaded, open your Downloads folder. Look for your video. It will usually be one of the most recent items. Double-click it to open. Take your time with this step. Once your video is on your computer, you're ready to move on. Now that your recording is on your computer, we're ready for the next step. We're going to turn your video into a written transcript. Let me take a moment to explain why we're doing this. You've already created the life story. Now we're going to turn that story into something we can actually use. By creating a transcript, we now have your recording in a written form. This allows us to organize it, search it, and build from it. This transcript becomes the foundation for what we call the knowledge base. It's what allows us to create the 3 memory helpers: the memory finder, the memory player, and the memory partner. So while this step may seem simple, it's what makes everything that follows possible. There are many transcription services available, and you can choose any one you're comfortable with. If you'd like, you can search for video transcription services and select one that works for you. At the time of this recording, here are 2 options to consider. The first is a free option using Google Docs. Go to docs.google.com in your browser. If you're not signed in, go ahead and sign in with your Google account. Once you're in Google Docs, click Blank to open a new document. At the top of the screen, click Tools, then select Voice Typing. You'll see a microphone appear. Click the microphone to begin. Now play your video out loud on your computer. As the audio plays, Google Docs will type what it hears. When your video is finished, click the microphone again to stop. You will now have a written transcript. The second option is a dedicated transcription service like Otter. Go to otter.ai in your browser. Create a free account and sign in. Otter typically provides a limited number of free transcriptions to get started. If you choose to continue using it, you will need to subscribe to a paid plan. At the time of this recording, that is approximately $30 per month, or about $240 per year. If you decide to subscribe, you can base that decision on whether you plan to continue creating life stories and using this process regularly. Choose whichever option works best for you. If you need to, feel free to pause this video and replay these steps as you go. Once your transcript or transcripts are ready, save them on your computer. Now that you've transformed the recording of the life story into a transcript, the next step is to turn that transcript into the knowledge base. The transcript contains everything, but it's in a long, unstructured format. The knowledge base organizes that information into clear, usable pieces. Instead of reading through pages of text, the person using the system will be able to quickly find specific information like names, places, routines, preferences, and key facts. This is what makes the information usable in real-life situations. The knowledge base becomes the foundation for the memory tools that support memory recall. From it are built the memory finder, the memory player, and the memory partner. Each of these tools uses the information stored in the knowledge base to provide support in different ways. Training is available to guide you step by step in how to build and use each of these tools. But they all begin in the same place, the knowledge base. That's why our next step is to begin building it. To build the knowledge base, we're going to use a tool called ChatGPT. Think of it as a workspace where you can take information from your transcript and organize it step by step. You don't need any technical experience. We'll guide you through exactly what to do. To follow along with this training, you'll need access to ChatGPT Plus. If you already have access, you're ready to continue. If not, go to chat.openai.com, create an account, and upgrade to ChatGPT Plus. You will not have to organize the information yourself or decide what belongs where. All you need to do is take your transcript and paste the text into ChatGPT. Once you do that, ChatGPT will identify the meaningful details in the text and organize them for you. You'll begin to see the structure of the knowledge base take shape without having to build it manually. Before you begin, name this chat, the knowledge base. This will make it easy to return to and continue building over time. What you've accomplished is significant. You've taken a life story, captured it, preserved it, and prepared it to become something that can truly help. That matters. Now here's something important to understand. The knowledge base you're building lives inside this chat. You won't see it as a separate file or system, but it's there and it's working. Let's take a moment to experience that. After you've added a few sections of your transcript, type a simple question. For example, where did I grow up? Or, what was my first job? When you enter that question, ChatGPT will use the information you've added to generate the answer. You're not searching for the answer. You're retrieving it from the knowledge base you've built. At this point, you have a natural stopping place, the knowledge base, the foundation for the 3 memory helpers. If you'd like to present the life story as a continuous experience, you can combine your recordings into a single video. These tools are separate from this training, and if you're not familiar with them, you search for their respective training programs. These tools allow you to place your recordings in order, trim them if needed, and export a single video that becomes a complete life story. In addition to creating a video, you can also create a book based on the life story you've captured. You already have everything you need. You have the transcript. From here, you can take sections of the transcript and paste them into ChatGPT. Then ask it to turn the material into a written narrative. For example, please turn this into a chapter of a book written in a clear, natural storytelling style. You can guide this process one section at a time, building chapters based on different parts of the person's life. Over time, those chapters come together into a complete book. Once the content is written, you can format and edit it using Microsoft Word, Google Docs, or Apple Pages. When you're ready to create a finished book, you can use services such as Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, Blurb, or Lulu. These platforms allow you to create printed copies or digital versions to share with family and friends. This gives you another meaningful way to present the life story, not just as something to remember, but as something the family can hold, read, and return to over time. And finally, let's bring this together. You've learned how to guide a life story conversation, how to capture it, and how to turn it into a transcript. Now you're using that transcript to build the knowledge base, the foundation for everything that follows. In the next section, Angela, who interviewed Eleanor in the life story demo earlier in this training program, will present the entire set of questions from the Life Story question bank. You can also download a PDF of the questions from the URL below. These questions will help you conduct the interview. They have been designed to help trigger the lifetime memories, including some of the tiniest memories that might surprise everyone. Have fun, and know that you're doing something meaningful, precious, and ever so helpful to support memory recall. And now, here's Angela.
What I'm about to share with you is a complete question guide designed to help you capture a life story. These questions are organized into sections, and each section follows the natural progression of a life, from early childhood through relationships, work, and experiences to reflection and meaning. You don't need to ask every question, and you don't need to follow this exactly. Think of this as a guide. You can move at your own pace, choose what feels natural, and allow the conversation to unfold. If you'd like, you can simply play a section and follow along. Or you can pause, reflect, and return whenever you're ready. We'll start with question set 1, early life. Let's start at the beginning. Where were you born? What was your home like? What do you remember about your parents? Did you have brothers or sisters? What were they like? What are some of your earliest memories? In this section are questions about your childhood and school years. What kind of child were you? What did you enjoy doing for fun? What were some of your favorite holidays? Who did the cooking? What were some of your favorite meals? What were your favorite treats? Did you ever get in trouble? For what? Who were your friends? What games did you play? What was school like for you? Did you have a favorite teacher? Was there a subject you loved or didn't like? Did you have a crush on anyone? What are some of your favorite memories back then? What was your favorite movie? Did you have a favorite book? What are you most proud of from back then? The questions in this section are about your teenage years. What were your teenage years like? What were you most interested in back then? Who were your closest friends? What music did you love? Do you remember your first date? Did your parents ever give you a hard time? In what ways were you like your mom? In what ways were you like your dad? What was the most challenging thing about being a teenager? What were your dreams at that time? The questions in this section are about your jobs and your career. What did you want to be when you grew up? Did you and your parents ever talk about that? What was your first job? How did you choose your career? What kind of work did you enjoy most? Who were your bosses? Who was your best boss and why? Who was your worst boss and why? What did you learn from each of them that made you better at what you did in your work and in your life? What were the toughest parts of your jobs, and how did you face up to them? Who were the most challenging people in your jobs, and how did you deal with them? Looking back, what about your work made you proud? The questions in this section are about falling in love, getting married, and your most precious memories together. How did you meet your spouse or partner? What was your first impression of them? When did you know they were the one, and why? Who proposed, and how? Who picked out the ring, and how? What do you remember most about your wedding? What made your relationship special over the years? What are some of your favorite memories together? What will you always treasure about your spouse? If there's one thing you would like to say to your spouse, what would that be? This section has questions about raising children. Tell me about your children. What were they like when they were young? What are some of your favorite family moments? What traditions did your family have? What did you enjoy most about being a parent? There are times in our life where we just look back and reflect. That's what the questions in this section are about. What are you most proud of in your life? What were some of your biggest challenges? What lessons have you learned along the way? What advice would you give to your children and why? What moments shaped who you became? As we end this adventure about telling the life story, we'll focus on questions about joys, passions, and interests. What activities have brought you the most joy? What hobbies have you loved? What places have been most meaningful to you? What simple things made you happiest? Let's spend a little time looking back at what made our life so special. When you look back, what stands out most? What are you most grateful for? How would you describe your life story? What would you want people to remember about you? And finally, as we reach the last set of questions, let's do a closing reflection. Is there anything we haven't talked about that you'd like to share? Is there a story that feels important to tell? What does a meaningful life mean to you? Now that we've worked our way through the questions, I'd like to share just a few thoughts with you. This isn't about asking questions perfectly, and it's not about getting through a list. It's about being present and creating a space where memories feel safe to come forward. Sometimes, a single question will open something unexpected, a story, a feeling, a moment that hasn't been remembered in years. When that happens, pause. Let it unfold. Those are the moments that matter most. You don't need to rush. You don't need to guide every step. Just listen, gently, and let the conversation become what it wants to be. The questions we've just shared with you are all included in the question bank, which you can download at the URL shown at the bottom of your screen. You'll also find a second set of questions there. You can use those instead, or blend them together in whatever way feels right for you. There's no single path through this, only the one you create together. And now, I'll turn it back over to Charlie.
Thank you, Angela. What you've just completed in this training program is something truly meaningful. You now know how to guide a life story, how to ask the questions that bring it forward, how to capture it, and how to turn it into a living, lasting transcript. And that matters, because this isn't just a story. It becomes the foundation for the work you will do as a practitioner. The life story you've helped create is meant to be organized and placed into a knowledge base, a structured living record that reflects the individual's experiences, relationships, and identity. From there, everything else begins to come to life. The memory finder, the memory player, the memory partner. Each of these tools draws from that same source, the story you've helped preserve. So your next step is simple. Take the raw transcript you've created. Let ChatGPT organize it clearly, and use that finished transcript to build the knowledge base from it. Once that's in place, you're ready to continue. On the MemoryHelpers.com website, you'll find access to the Memory Helpers storefront. That's where you can enroll in the next training programs, each one designed to guide you, step by step, in building and using the full system with the individuals and families you serve. You can move forward at your own pace, and in whatever order best fits your work. One important note as you begin applying this in practice. You are working with deeply personal information. If you choose to store or manage that information on your own systems, we strongly recommend taking appropriate steps to protect it, including considering professional, general, and cyber liability coverage. This training provides the knowledge and process, but you are responsible for how and where that information is stored. It's not about complexity, it's about stewardship. And finally, take your time with this. The most meaningful stories are not gathered quickly. They are uncovered with care, patience, and genuine presence. That is what makes this work so powerful. Thank you for being here, for learning this process, and for choosing to do work that truly matters.
Well, I remember meeting Margaret at a college dance at the University of Illinois. I went with my roommate, Jerry. He was the one who convinced me to go that night. I remember standing there talking with him when I noticed Margaret across the room. She was standing with a couple of her friends, and I guess I must have been staring a little too long because Jerry nudged me and said, "Hal, stop gawking already and go ask her to dance." So I finally worked up the courage and walked over and asked her, and she said yes. We danced once, and then later that evening I asked her again. I remember thinking on the way home that night that I really hoped I'd see her again.
That's exactly how I remember it. I was there with my roommate Linda and a friend of ours named Carol. We were just standing there talking when Hal came over and asked if I'd like to dance. Linda leaned over and whispered to me, "You should say yes. He seems like a nice guy." So I did. And I remember at one point while we were dancing, Hal accidentally stepped on my foot. We both laughed, but I could tell he was really embarrassed. I thought he might be so embarrassed that he wouldn't ask me to dance again. So I did something a little bold. I gave him a quick kiss on the cheek and told him it was okay. And after that, well, he asked me to dance again. And I guess you could say I haven't stopped kissing him since.
Well, that's because I haven't stopped stepping on her feet whenever we dance.
Where did you grow up?
In St. Louis.
What do you remember about your home?
It was a small house, white, with a big tree in the front yard.
What did you like most about it?
Ah, that tree. We used to sit under it in the summer, my brother and I.
What was your brother like?
He was loud, always getting into trouble, but he made everything fun.
What kinds of things did you enjoy doing together?
We'd ride our bikes all over the neighborhood. My mother would call us in for dinner, and we'd pretend we didn't hear her. She'd stand on the porch and yell our full names. That's how we knew we were in trouble.
What do you remember about her?
She was steady, always there. Dinner at the same time, every night.
That sounds like a really special time.
Yeah, it was.